Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're walking in Memphis. Topic of the Walking in Memphis, CWA Wrestling from January 5th, 1980. If you haven't seen my videos before, we grade everything on a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the best, 5 being the worst. For Walking in Memphis, we consider it for segment to segment, basically commercial break to commercial break. With that being said, let's jump right into it. We start off with a video of Ken Lucas versus Jimmy Hart. Lucas has Jarrett in his corner, Jimmy Hart has Jerry Lawler in his corner. The story of this is Jimmy Hart had been involved in matches with Ken Lucas, and Ken ultimately got the booker, Roy Welch and Jerry Jarrett, to agree to put him in a match with Jimmy Hart. From what I've seen, this was very slow, very prodding. It didn't really get to its point. It was in a lot of ways boring in my opinion, and it's kind of hard to watch something like this being part of a feud, watching it in a vacuum, but unfortunately that is how I grade these. As if this was the first time I ever watched it, which it was for this show, it would be much like someone just tuning into wrestling for the first time. Ultimately, Ken Lucas picks up the win, the highlight being that he pulls Jimmy Hart's pants down and spanks him, which they don't show. I'm gonna give this a 2. Like I said, it kind of felt boring at times, a little bit too prodding, a little bit too slow-paced. That's followed up with a promo with Bill Dundee and Jerry Jarrett. Both each do a separate promo. And then we go back to another video from the same event with Jerry the King Lawler versus Jerry Jarrett. This, I'm more familiar with the feud. I just reviewed a match between the two a couple months ago, and I know more of this feud. This is more of a historic feud in my opinion. So maybe that's what drew me in a little better. Maybe it's the fact that it's Jerry the King Lawler, that even when he's going slow, he's given us something to watch and something interesting. Obviously, Jerry Lawler is a better wrestler than Ken Lucas. No knock to Ken Lucas. This was pretty good. Lawler ultimately picks up the win. For that segment, I'm giving it a 4. That's followed up with an interview with the Gibson Brothers, Ricky and Robert. Robert, future rock and roll fame. Interestingly enough, he's teamed with somebody else named Ricky again. They shoot to a video of them, and they talk over the video of them beating the Assassins for the Southern Tag Team Championship. I believe this is the Assassins with Roger Smith, and the other assassin, which I believe went on to be Moondog Rex. I could be wrong though, because there's been 1,000 pairings of assassins under 1,000 masks that all look similar. After they go through the video, show how they won the championship, they go to the ring, the Gibson Brothers do, to face Jerry, Ralph, and Bill Smithson. They make quick work of Smithson and Ralph. Gibson Brothers pick up the win. For that segment with the promo, the match, I thought it was good, not great. I'm giving this a 3. That's followed up with a video from Billy Robinson from his home, talking about having a broken arm and getting ready to come back. Pretty good stuff. Billy Robinson isn't looked at much as a promo guy. He's more looked at as a wrestler, kind of on the lines of a Bob Backlund or someone of that nature. So it's really cool to see these promos and see that he really wasn't bad on promos. It's just that his wrestling was so good that it outshined that. That's followed up with another tag match, this time the Hillbilly and David Oswald going up against the Assassins. Again, the Assassins make short work of their team. Again, all good, nothing really great here, nothing to stand out. I did like the Gibsons tag team match more than I liked the Assassins tag team match, but I liked the Billy Robinson promo more than the Gibsons promo. For this segment, I'm giving this a 3 again. I thought it was good, nothing great. That's followed up with a 6-man match. We get Buddy Wayne, Jerry Ralph, and Ken Barnes going up against Rick Moran, the future Ricky Morton, the other half of the Rock and Roll Express, Big Red, and Steve Regal. Not Steve Regal that would go on to be William Regal, a different guy. This one wrestled in the AWA. I can't really grade this segment because in about a minute or so, they ring the bell and say they're out of time. So for this segment, I'm going to give it an incomplete, which is a little bit confusing because as we're going to see, there's another segment after this. We come back from the break, we go to another segment. It's Jerry Lawler and Jimmy Hart standing there doing a promo, and then Jimmy Valiant comes in and does his part of the promo. So they had time to fit this promo in, but they couldn't finish the 6-man match. And I get it, but I understand that Lawler and Valiant are 2 of your biggest stars, but why even do the 1 or 2 minutes of the match? Why not maybe do an interview with the Assassins or something like that? I don't know. For this ending promo, I'm giving that a 5. I thought it was excellent. I mean, You got Lawler and Valiant. How can you go wrong? Overall, the show had some ups and downs to me. The incomplete match hurts it a bit. The seeing as much on video as was in front of the studio audience, in my opinion, kind of hurt it a bit. Overall, I'm going to give this show probably going to give it a 2. I know that most of what I rated here was higher than that, but by the end of this, I was really confused by the incomplete match. There was some really boring stuff, and it kind of felt like a real transitional period where it seemed like they had some wrestlers who were probably leaving or already left and some new ones coming in, and they didn't quite have their feuds ready yet. It wasn't as strong as it could have been with the cast of characters they had. So for me, that's why I think overall it's a little bit more underwhelming than the sum of its parts. With that being said, let's smash that like button, share the video, and subscribe if you haven't. If you see that little button that says join, that's how you become a channel member. And if you made it all the way to the end, let's put Ricky Gibson in the comments. We see Robert get plenty of love as being half of the Rock and Roll Express. We don't quite see the same love for Ricky Gibson, so let's give him a little bit of love in the comments. With all that being said, my name is George Coles, and we've been walking in Memphis.